Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about two topics you need to understand as a chess player coming up in chess and trying to improve. The first topic is about understanding your opponent's threat. Observing the board properly comes with a lot of patience and training. If you observe the board, you'll be able to detect the thing your opponent is attacking at the moment, let's say a pawn or a piece. Good. Most of the times, what do you calculate from? You calculate from the king, try to avoid checks, capture, and attack before you make your move. So, we're looking at two different topics. The first topic is actually observing what your opponent is trying to do to you, stopping your opponent's plan. And the second one is avoid hanging pieces when you're just starting up in chess. These two ideas could help you increase tremendously as a 400 elo player, 500 elo player, and so many others. Although the idea takes time to mature with a lot of practice and training, don't just rely only on the resource I'll give to you in this video. You can explore more, start with that one principle or concept first before going to the second one. For example, observing what your opponent is trying to do to you is a very broad idea that you need time to help you develop on every stage of chess game. Every level of chess game has its own difficulty. So, for a lower rated player, usually tackle issues your opponent is trying to create to you. When you grow up in your elo rating, you will meet difficult players. So you need to work harder to discover what they're trying to do to you. So, in the second topic or the second idea, which is avoid hanging pieces, we're going to address the concept of trying to discover what your opponent is trying to do to you. So at the same time, you can combine the two principles to help us grow. So, I want to show you an example from my account. Recently, I fell victim of this idea. I just did not really observe properly on the board what my opponent was trying to do to me. Then I just played casually. Then I fell victim and lost the game. It happened twice. Well, let me show you this example. Then I'll go right into teaching straight up. In this my account, I'll go right into the game. I played the last few games I played. I think, let me check out this one. Briefly, I'll just show it to you. I will not play the whole game. I'll just go right into where I was affected. Now, in this position here, the game ended when I resigned. I am around 1800 rated player. Look at it. So I lost to this extent 3 games back to back. So I felt touched and like, okay, I want my viewers, followers to learn from this so that I won't just be a victim all through. In this position here, I have developed, see, it's my queen that is the only most developed piece from my own category. You can see it from my camp. You can see it by yourself on the screen. So my queen is the only strong and active developed piece, which is bad. I ignored development. My opponent was developing. I ignored it to the point that my opponent already have a strong bishop outside, cutting out my king. Then checkmate is coming in 1, and so on. Even if I try to close up, maybe I try to block, you will capture the bishop and so many. Before this stage, something had happened. I lacked development. I was not observing what my opponent was setting up. If we go back some moves, you will notice I was just, I was still ignoring development. You know, at some point, I should have at least create some room for my king to run. The pieces at the back should have come outside and many other things. Well, this is just this one. I think this next one will actually show more of observing your opponent's threat and more. Look at, I lost 4 straight games due to this concept. So I'm showing you, I'm going to correct myself. In my next video, I'll show you my progress from how I've improved, stopping my opponent's plan, then winning more games. Okay, not this. Now take a look at this. Let me take it one move. I'm here. My opponent is trying to make checkmate in 1. This was the deceptive approach. It's not really deceptive because it's obvious on this board. Now I took a bishop here, the bishop and the queen. I've already formed battery to make checkmate, supported by the 9th. Now, I took away the bishop first. My opponent captured with the knight. The threat of the checkmate is still available. At this point, at least what I can do just to delay it, first of all, I can play this move, attack the queen. That's the first approach. One, I would try. If I had observed the board, at least this, I've not analyzed this game at all. So when I came back, I did self-analysis. I did not use engine analysis. I had to go back and retrace my step. I noticed that, okay, this is the problem I had. I was too fast making that move, and there were time. 3 minutes 45 seconds is a big time to think. So the idea here was to stop checkmate. Stop checkmate. Prevent your opponent's plan. Now, if I had played a move like this, at least if the queen takes, I'll take. The plan I've spoiled. Then this can now happen. You know, it's a concept for me. At least I've destroyed the plan at that moment. Now, what other concept do I have? I still have this. It's still possible to have this. Yes. And I'll play this move. It's still possible. These are ideas that at least will still prevent instant loss of the game. So, but after my opponent took, I played this in a hurry. This is what I played in the game, and I lost the game. Fast forward to one more example. This is going to load up because it takes time. See, in this particular example, I lost. I was already in a form of losing position. Not totally losing, but I had hopes. Now look at this. In this game, I had hopes of, okay, maybe I can draw, or, you know, my opponent will try to flag me, but my opponent cannot just win me. That was the plan I had. In this position here, my opponent played this move. He played king attacking my rook. So I had to take the rook up to d8 for safety, because I understand the plan all along. Because after my opponent plays this move, let's take it back. Here, he played this. He played king to e4 attacking the rook. The idea here is straightforward. My opponent wants to sacrifice the rook, taking away the defender of my rook. Then, if it happens, pawn takes, king will take the rook since the rook is no more defended. That was the plan I saw. So what I did was to keep my rook up away from that king, first of all. Now my opponent played this move. What should I have done here? At least the best move now is rook takes rook. Rook takes, check. I will have to just move somewhere here deceptively. This is the best move for me now. The reason is this. I am threatening bishop to e2, pins the rook. Sorry, here, pins the rook to the king. Simple. That was the plan. But due to what inspired me to make this video, is this my blunder and error? It's an error, big error. I now played king to e2. Sorry, king to c2, and that was it. So my opponent took, I just resigned. There was nothing to play for again. So this thing I'm telling you now, this idea, this concept of looking for what your opponent is trying to do to you and trying to stop it, can make you win many games and can cost you many games too. Just imagine the number of losses I had, and I dropped right from when I started losing. See, I was around, see it, 1800, 1806, 1806. I was around that rating. So I dropped rating consecutively as I lose the game, or let me say lost games back to back 4 times because of ignorance. That same idea, that same concept of not observing what my opponent is trying to do to me. You get it now? Good. So let me bring to your level some concept that will still resonate with you. This is a higher level concept for around 1500, 1600, 1700, 1800, even 1900. People that want me around 1700. So if they know it at 1700 and you're around 1600 and you're around 15, you're around 600, 500, 400, this is golden to you. You need to take advantage of this particular concept and idea. So let's dive into studying hanging pieces. Hanging pieces can happen to you in any stage. So for this teaching, I want us to use an example that will be easily resonated to anybody or any level. If it's too easy for you, fine. Kudos to you because you've learned this concept. However, if you're just learning it for the first time and it's new to you and you catch value in this video, do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, like, and share to your friends. Then you can subscribe to the channel to get more values like this. Let's dive right into it. I looked into a certain opening and I said, okay, how can I help a certain level of players like 1400 to 800 ELOs? How can I help them? Let's talk about hanging pieces. Hanging pieces or hanging pawns are pawns or pieces that are not defended. One definition. Second definition includes pieces that are not adequately or properly defended. Those are called hanging pieces. Good. So we have different layers of this concept, and you can get to hanging pieces and take advantage of hanging pieces when you combine your combination, your series of variation in a combination with tactical ideas such as sacrifices, discovered attack, and many others. While sometimes a simple move like taking the hanging piece just win the piece. Let's look at this opening. This opening starts with pawn to e4. We have e5, then knight to f3, attacking the pawn. Natural. Black defends with d6, then you play pawn to d4. I'm using this opening so I can establish my understanding, so you can really get the picture of what I'm trying to tell to you. Now, he did not take, he just played knight to d7. In this position, white developed the bishop to c4. Natural. Then pawn moves to h6. Now, in this position here, we have knight coming out. You see, your opponent is developing pieces. In this case, black is also developing, but it's slower than that of white. Yeah. So after this position, pawn to c6, we have pawn takes. Here, pawn takes. Now, look at this. What is the best move here for white? The best move here for white is to complete development. At this point, you can play a bishop, queen, castle long side. However, there's a faster one, which is castle king side, by moving the king. And that is simple. It may not look as the best, but when you are playing as an upcoming chess player, you need to know that there's some basic principles that grandmasters have played before you. They are still playing it till date. So study and follow that plan, then you get better in line with what you are learning from the video. So let's stay in context of what we are talking about here, about hanging pieces. So look at black's camp now. What do you think is the best move for black at the moment? Black can choose to continue development swiftly or slowly with moves that are okay, such as knight move here. Bring out the knight, you play the bishop, you also castle the short side. These are concepts, ideas that is okay, natural. But here, let me show you something. Black actually played a move that blunders, and that is bishop. Bishop to d6 automatically carries a red or two red question marks because it's a blunder. Can you see the continuation from white's camp? What do you do as white? Simple, you take that bishop. This is the simple concept of hanging piece. Now, in the sense that it's black that played the piece there. You get it? It is black that played the piece there. In some cases, the piece will just be in one side. You have to play your pieces to that direction to take advantage of that piece. Now, this continues in the game as this. In this case, you see, the queen is developed. White doesn't want to bring the queen back, so you just play the rook to defend the queen. That's another concept connected to the first idea. Notice what your opponent is trying to do. Your opponent came here with the queen, trying to exchange the queen and develop the knight now, but you don't want that development to continue. So instead, there was a rook. So if queen takes now, in this case, rook will just take. So this might force your opponent to move the king, which 400 players, 300 players can do. I have seen them do this. You just take back your rook and you are good to go. The reason why I'm laying emphasis on this is that I have witnessed this. So I want you to grow. That's why I am showing you these examples. So now for this move, black has lost the castling right for the king. Now he will try to castle manually, where he brings the knight and the rook, which is a lot of moves for you. By then you'll have developed the bishop, connect your rooks, probably double rooks against this d file and take control of the d file. Fine. Let's go back some moves and talk about what higher rated players would play, or players that understand principle will play. In this position here, instead of blundering the bishop to d6, let's go with a concept where the player knows what to do and decides to play bishop to e7. Naturally, this is now a variation that is higher than the previous variation, which is on a different elo. Let's say elo 1000 to 12 will play like this. Even elo 500, elo 1500 and upwards too will play like this. However, check out this variation and tell me what's wrong with it. Bishop comes out here, he plays the knight to develop. Queen. Now this follows. Then rook. Why rook? Rook comes to d1 to pin the knight to the queen. Queen steps away, which is nice, to c7. Rook moves. Now he played this. Bishop came back. This happens. Doubles the rook. Now, pawn push. Why did black push that pawn? That pawn push weakened this pawn here, and that gave the game away with a simple knight takes pawn. Attacking the queen with tempo. You see it? And this came because you spotted that hanging pawn. You see it? So you spot the hanging pawn and know the right piece to start the variation. So taking with the knight creates an attack on the queen, which is called tempo in chess, which we need in chess. So after the queen moves to a safe square, for instance, the queen goes to a square here for safety, you can just push this pawn to defend the rook. You know, if he goes back, you can bring your knight and try to put the knight back into the game through the square. If, in fact, after he moves the bishop, knight comes to a3, you can use c2, you can use c4. Fine. Let's leave it this way. Lesson learned. Okay, I'm going to take it back to this position. There is a variation here that you need to know if you want to step up your game completely. If you want to go, in fact, if you want to become extremely better in chess, there's a variation here that I will show to you. And that variation is something that lower rated players will not easily see. Now, I just turned on the engine evaluation, and the evaluation is really telling me that the variation I'm about to play is top notch. So let me show it to you. In this position here, there is a spectacular combination that wins the queen. I know my friends, the 500 ELO players, the 600, 700, 800 ELO players may not see this, but I will go ahead and show it to you. And this explains why study is important, and materials like this in chess are hard to find outside. Now, that variation starts with a sacrifice. This is a kind of a different set of hanging piece inadequately defended piece. Like I said earlier in part of the second point, inadequately defended. The queen on d8, the black queen on d8 is defended by the king, and we can capture the queen. How? Let me show it to you. Bishop sacrifice first is yummy. This is tempting. This variation also leads to capturing the rook. So we did not get the queen, we can get the rook, but we have to give material. This is completely yummy because giving up a bishop, your opponent may not see the next continuation, will grab the bishop in a hurry. Mwah. Now, we throw in 9 check. It takes the knight, queen takes queen. This is risky, but at the same time, we have just established an idea that is above our thinking level that will shock the opponent, and the opponent will be like, how? This is the kind of move you play or the variation you play that your opponent playing against you will say you have used the engine because you studied. So he will take it down some moves, and the opponent decide not to take the knight in this stage. Then he moves. It goes to a different square like this. If it comes to a square like this, we have knight moves going after the rook. This king is now vulnerable, very exposed to the center. The queen cuts out squares like this for now. Then we have a knight covering this square, a pawn covering here. Now nobody's okay. We have a knight covering here. Now nobody's covering here. This move is coming. You get it. Now we are attacking the rook. If he moves the rook, you can bring your queen into the game. And this is a crazy attack because you are threatening to do all sort of nasty things to this guy. Even at this point, you are trying to assess a square like this. You get. Very crazy. You are prepared to assess squares like this and cause a lot of problems. Or maybe you can just go with the silent developing moves. Pawn to f4. Simple. Now in a case where your opponent goes to a square e7, simple. You can still go with this variation. You get it. So he will try to near the knight. If he comes to near the knight, you just take the rook. I just shared a concept with you that in the next few days of you studying chess and you pick this material to study your chess, try and make your opponent not do that thing he wants to do. Then you see how your game will become. For now, guys, thank you for watching this video. Do not forget to hit the thumbs up, like and share, then support. Do not forget, if your pieces are hanging, defend them. Keep them defended at all times before you attack. Defense comes before attack. You have to defend against check, defend against capture, defend against attack. And this will help your games. See you in the next game. See you in the next video.